Okay, so this video is going to be on lesson 5, which is on page 587. And here are the three equations that we've all been given. So we've got the general, we've got the slope y-intercept, and then we've got the equation that we did last week, which is slope point form. So star these three. There are only three and no more. On your unit exam, I will be giving everybody a formula sheet that has these three. The majority of you will have it memorized. Okay, class example number 1. Given 2 points, determine the equation in general form of a line passing through the 2 points. So it doesn't tell you which equation to use, you just have to sort of figure it out. So what I would do is I would say, okay, if you have 2 points, what can you always calculate if you have 2 points? What can we calculate, you guys? If we have 2 points, we could do what? Slope. So let's call the 2 points x1, y1, and x2, y2. You get 2 points, you immediately calculate your slope. So you would say, okay, the slope of the line, and actually we're going to call our line what they want us to call it. So the slope is PQ. It's equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the slope of the line. Slope of line PQ. So let's make sure that we get everything entered correctly. So this would be -6 minus y1 is -1 all over x2. So -2 minus x1 is 3. So two negatives make a positive. So the slope is -6 plus 1, which is -6, all over -5. Actually, no, that's a mistake. Do you guys see what my mistake is? It should be -5 over what? Yeah, -5 over -5. What does that equal? 1. And that is my slope. Okay, from there, we've got our slope. Now we need to decide where we're going to go from here. So if we have a slope of 1 and we have 2 points, I would probably go to slope point form. And you could use either of those 2 points and you'll get the exact same answer. So if we know what the slope is and we have 2 different points, pick one of the points and let's go into slope point form. So I'm just going to use that first point because we had already called that x1, y1. And the equation in slope point form is y minus y1 is equal to the slope, open bracket, x minus x1. Okay, so let's fill this in. Y minus, so Jack, instead of putting y minus minus 1, what do you want me to put? So what does that clean up to be? Y minus -1 becomes y plus 1 is equal to the slope, which is 1, open bracket, x minus x1 would be x minus 3. From here, we're going to get rid of that bracket by distributing in the 1. Y plus 1 is equal to 1x minus 3. Let's go into slope y-intercept next, right? So let's go into that form next. So let's solve for y. So subtract 1, subtract 1. Y is equal to 1x minus 4. That would be your answer if they said, what's the equation in slope y-intercept, right? I know that the slope of my line is 1, my y-intercept is -4, right? So that's a good form to be in. But then it actually says determine the equation in general form. So we have to say, okay, what was general form? So general form was ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. You guys, do I bring everything to the left or to the right for general? Where do I want to go, Rebecca, for general? To the right. What needs to be positive? The x. Yeah, the x needs to be positive. I can get to general in one move, and that move is subtracting the y. So then I would have 0 is equal to 1x minus 1y minus 4, and you are in general. If you guys would have chosen the other point, At the end of the day, you'd be at the exact same spot. So it does not matter when you're going to slope point form which point you use. You could have chosen this to be your x1, y1, and you would get to that exact same equation. Okay, so that's super important to kind of realize that. Let's do class example number 2. Determine the equation in general form. So I'm just going to erase this. Of a line passing through this point, and it's perpendicular to this guy here. Okay, when they say the word perpendicular, what do they want me to do? What do they want me to figure out or mess if it's perpendicular? Yeah, the number in front of the x. Perpendicular is slope, right? So if they say perpendicular and we got to figure out like the slope of this, then Alexa, what form do I want to go into? Y is equal to mx plus b. Yep. So you guys, as soon as they say perpendicular, say to yourself, I need to get into this form here, mx plus b. If you're in that form, you could get your slope, right? So I'm going to box in my y. Sebastian, what do you want me to do with that y? Do you want me to keep it there or do you want me to move it? If I want to get into y is equal to mx plus b, what are you thinking? Move it. Because what do you want, Sebastian? Your y to be positive or negative in this form? Positive. Yeah, so let's get rid of that 5y. Because we want to solve for y, right? So now I have 3x plus 17 is equal to 5y. Really close to getting y by itself. Jada, what's the last move I have to make to get y by itself? Divide everything by 5. So divide this guy by 5, this guy by 5, and this guy by 5. Then I'm going to write y is equal to, so I'm going to write the y first because I want to be in slope y-intercept. 3 over 5x plus 17 over 5. Maya, what is the slope of this equation? 3 over 5. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to box this in, and I'm going to say that my slope is 3 over 5. They wanted a slope perpendicular. So Kayla, if they want perpendicular to this guy, what's my new slope going to be? Negative 5 over 3. Okay, so you guys, they want an equation with this slope and it goes through this point here. If you're given a slope and a point, Jimmy, what are you going to put it into if you're given a slope and a point? There's a couple different things you could do, but what are you thinking? Any idea? What do you guys think? Slope, point, let's go slope point form, right? That's one of the ways we could do this. I'll show you another way after. But yeah, if you're given a slope and you're given a point, x1, y1, let's go into slope point form, see what we get. So y minus y1 is equal to the slope x minus x1. Okay, so y minus, I'm going to put the 0 for now and I'll get rid of it after, but y minus 0 is equal to the slope, negative 5 over 3, x minus 5. Yeah, so if you're given a slope and a point, put it into slope point form is one easy way. Y minus 0 is the same thing as just saying y is equal to. And then we're going to distribute this. So that would be negative 5x over 3 plus, and the reason why I have a plus is because two negatives will make a positive. So negative 5x over 3 plus, and then that would be 5 times 5 is 25 over 3. Okay, so from here, now I've got what my slope is. So it's that perpendicular slope, negative 5 over 3. I've got my y-intercept. Oh, what can I change this to? What's 20, or I guess that's not a nice number, 25 over 3, right? That's going to give us a fraction. So we'll just keep it right now. We won't put 8.3. We'll keep it as is. So now I'm in slope y-intercept. From here, I'm going to look and they want it in general. So I've got to convert this to general, okay? So Bryn, going to general, is everything going to the left or is my y going to the right? Everything's going to the left. We got this guy needs to be positive to go into general. So you're going to bring that negative 5/3 to the left by adding 5 over 3x. So we're going to add 5x over 3. And then this guy we're going to subtract. So at the end of the day, this is what you would get. Right? So when I bring this guy over, it becomes positive. When I bring this guy over, it becomes negative. And then I want x, y constant is how I want this written. Okay, from here, Cade, what do I have to get rid of? Fractions. We can't end in general with fractions. So then I'd say, okay, this is going in a bracket, and I'm going to multiply this by 3, and I'm going to multiply that by 3. Doesn't change anything on the right-hand side. Okay, so nothing has changed. And what I would get from here, 5 times 5/3, if you were to do that, you would get 5 as an answer. You'd get 15 over 3, which would be 5x, plus 3y minus 25. So again, if you typed in your calculator 3 times negative 25 over 3, that answer would spit out, and that's our final answer. Okay, so very similar to a test question you guys did on Friday in relations to that. Okay, let's look at the last one, which is this class example here. Find the equation in general form of a line perpendicular to this. So let's just quickly box in perpendicular. And above perpendicular, right, if they're talking about slope, get into this form. Right? As soon as they're talking about slope, that's the form that they want. So I'm going to box in this y here. Owen, does the y stay or go? It goes. So I'm going to add 7y to both sides. And then from here, Kieran, what do you want me to do to get y by itself? Yes. Divide everything out by 7. And then what I have is 5x over 7 minus 10 over 7. So who cares what this y-intercept is? Because all I'm looking for from this equation is the slope. Okay? So Ella, what's the slope of this line that I just figured out? Yes. Oh, don't say the x. Right? Remember, the slope is just the number in front of the x. So some of you on a test did actually say like 5 over 7x, and you would get a -1 for that. So the slope is just 5 over 7. So Holly, what do they want? Perpendicular. Yeah, -7 over 5. Yep. So my new slope, you guys, is -7 over 5. So I just got the slope of that. So that's my new slope. Oh, the same x-intercept as this guy. Okay, if you're given an equation, how do we figure out what the x-intercept is? What do we let equal 0? That's right. If they want an x-intercept, you say, okay, I'm going to let y equal to 0. That's how you figure out an x-intercept. You always let the other letter equal 0. So what we would have is x minus 2. There's the y, so I'm going to put a 0 in there. Minus 12 equals 0. So I'm putting that in, but I'm just going to get rid of it because anything times 0 is 0. Right? Like if you want, you could say, okay, x minus 0 minus 12 is equal to 0. But basically, that's just x minus 12. So x minus 12 is equal to 0. And then from here, John, what's my x-intercept? Yep. So x-intercept is equal to 12. And then John, if I said, what's the point? What's the coordinates of the x-intercept? What would you say is your answer? 12, 0. Okay, what do you guys think? We need an equation in general form. I got a slope and I got a point. What are you going to do? Slope point form. Yep, you got a slope, you got a point. Y minus y1 is equal to the slope, open bracket, x minus x1. So my point is x1, y1. And you guys, instead of writing y minus 0, what could I just write? Y. Yeah, you could write y minus 0, but that's just y. So we'll write, say that again, Rebecca? No, you would not lose a mark. Nope. So y is equal to the slope, which is negative 7 over 5, x minus 12. Okay, from here, let's distribute this in. And I'm just going to get rid of something. Okay, so get rid of your brackets. So y is equal to negative 7 over 5x plus, because I know two negatives make a positive, and I'm going to type in on my calculator 7/5 times 12. So open bracket, 7 divided by 5 times that guy by 12. There's my y-intercept. But as a fraction, 84 over 5. Okay, this would be good enough if they said be in slope y-intercept, right? Because I know that my slope is negative 7 over 5, and I know that my y-intercept is 16.8. But they want me to go to general. So then, Kai, do you want me to move everything to the left or to the right if I'm going to general? To which side? The left. And why did you say that? Yeah, because basically, Kai, you always look at the x and you want that to be positive. So if this guy was positive, I'd bring my y over, right? But this guy is negative, so I need to bring that to the left to be 7 over 5x, and I need to bring the 84 over 5 to the left. So if you could do this in your head, a lot of you will just be like, okay, the answer is 7 over 5x plus 1y minus 84 over 5 is equal to 0. Like if you're able to do that, how many of you are able to do this? Okay, and then you're not writing, like if you need to, you could say, I need to add 7/5 over x, add 7/5 over x, right? Like some of you need to do that, cancel that guy. Then say, okay, I need to get rid of that 84 over 5, so minus 84 over 5 minus 84 over 5. But if you're able to do it in your head, have at her. Do it in your head. Okay, what do you guys want me to multiply both sides by? 5. So this guy goes in a bracket. Let's get rid of the fractions and then do that on the other side. When we distribute in that 5, what we are going to get is 7x. So 5 times 7/5, if you type that in your calculator, you'd get 7 as an answer. Plus 5y minus, this would give you 84. And that is equal to 0. And that would be your answer in general. So that was our answer in general. We had our answer in slope y-intercept. We had a slope point form. And that's how you would do that. Okay. So now I'm just going to give you various questions to practice. And like I said, this was mostly what your quiz was on this stuff here, which is the majority of this unit, right, is all of this. Okay, so for question number 1, could you guys circle A, C, and F? So A, C, and F. So you're given 2 points. What are you going to do Oh, and if you have 2 points, what are you going to calculate first? Slope. Yeah. Then from there, pick either of the 2 points and go into slope point form. And then from there, you go to general. Okay? So you're going to do 3 of those. You're going to do number 3, and I will assign B, C, and D. Number 4, I want you to do A and B. You guys, let's really quickly talk about 4A. They want it perpendicular to this guy here. So write down y is equal to 1x. So let's just actually take this slope out. Slope is equal to 1. What would perpendicular to 1 be? Negative 1 over 1. Yep. So perpendicular to this guy would be negative 1. So this is going to be your new slope. Same x-intercept as this guy. If they want an x-intercept, Antonio, what do I let equal to 0? Y. So let's quickly find the x-intercept. 0 is equal to 2x plus 10. We need to solve for x. So let's subtract 10 from both sides. And we would get negative 10 is equal to 2x. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 2. The x-intercept is negative 5. The point would be negative 5 comma 0. And there's your x1 and your y1. Okay, so do number 4, A and B. Flip your page. Do number 5. Not 6 or 7. Do number 9. And do number 10. Okay, so this is like the quiz again, practicing. So do those, and then we'll do the next lesson.